welcome in. Who knows who will show up tonight? John showed up just in time.
Nothing like a computer update in the middle of things.
How often does your computer update, man?
You ain't kidding.
What? That makes no sense.
It's always been like a certain app. An app, not a certain like part of the programs in the computer individually. It's like one thing or the other.
What?
And it's not like Norton would update once, and then Skype wants to update once, and then it's like, all right, I have to back out of everything, and so I got that going for me, which is nice.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
Thank you, Stefan.
You're going to call him Stefan now, really?
Stefan A.
So John comes in late, and now he is insulting Stephen A. Smith. Straight out of the gates.
Baby.
Wow. Hutcho wants to know what our theme music is for soccer over there. I honestly have no idea. It was on a free music site that was there. I don't remember which one I got it from. We've been using it forever. And then Borat used it.
That was awesome.
Borat used it in his movie. What is going on? Is he a big soccer over there fan? If so, hello. Like, hi. You can pop in anytime you want and talk about whatever nonsense we're getting into on the given day. We've got nonsense for you today. The nonsense revolves around the ConcaChampions, the finals tomorrow. CONCACAF has made some announcements. D. Graham's with you that Stephen A. is a joke. I don't know. I'm going to disagree with both of you. I think Stephen A. Knows what he is doing very, very well.
I know exactly. That's exactly what my perception of him is. He is all about, much like Skip.
Oh, no.
Skip.
No, they're not even in the same ballpark. Because I actually believe that Stephen A. believes the majority of what he is getting up tight about.
Agreed, yeah.
I think Skip just picks something to yell about and doesn't even really care.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference in the two.
I'll stipulate to that, yes.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about other things. I disagree with all y'all. I think Stephen A. is just fine.
I am having a very bad day.
You know, I mean, it's just, y'all need to relax. ConcaChampions. That is one thing we'll be getting into. LAFC Tigres tomorrow. CONCACAF made announcements. VAR is coming. They listened to the show this morning, and they got on their horse, and they got it done. I'm very, very proud of CONCACAF. We will talk about that. We'll talk about Copa Libertadores, because there's one more match in the quarterfinal round, Racing and Boca, and we will get into that one as well. That'll be this week. We will get into Mo Salah now, the stuff that we talked about last week that was just kind of like, hey, well, you know, I wish I'd been the captain in the stand-in game against Midtjylland, and I feel very disappointed. And now there's other things that I guess he is disappointed about, to the point that they're like, well, he might be on his way out.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Madness. And we're going to talk about Celtic with or without Jarrett Smith. I am now a Hearts fan because the championship plucky upstarts gave Celtic everything they could handle yesterday. Celtic, who wins like every other trophy in the history of the planet, couldn't get past Hearts in regulation or in extra time, should have lost the game, ended up winning in penalties. And now I guess Neil Lennon, it knows what he's doing. And people are saying, you're being very, very mean to Neil Lennon. He's went through so much. No, he's went through managing a team in a completely and utterly crap way. Yes. That's what he's done, and he's been criticized for it. And yes, he's been criticized. Yes, he's won a whole lot of trophies. They should be winning trophies. That's like, man, I don't even know what that's like. That's like Kentucky basketball back in the day, like complaining that we're not getting enough credit for beating everybody in the SEC. You're winning games by 30 points. It doesn't really matter, does it? You should be winning.
Yes.
I mean, Celtic should be winning these things.
1-4, you deserve what you get.
Celtic should be winning these things, but they have been complete and utter garbage for a while, and they looked like complete and utter garbage yesterday. So I guess it's not okay to criticize that anymore because you're being mean to poor Neil Lennon, who says he won't leave and is very, very selfish in the things that he does. But, just saying. They've won 12 straight cups available. That is absolutely true. Were they the underdog in any of those competitions?
I believe the answer to that is 0.
Like, were they even close to being the underdog in any of those competitions? Maybe 1 or 2. Maybe Rangers got back into the mix in one of those last 12 that was a bit of a surprise. But they've beaten the teams they should be beating. And now they're not always beating the teams they should be beating. It's just this weird thing. I don't know. I'm baffled by the whole thing. So I spent most of the game yelling in all caps in our private chat about it because I want them to lose. I want them to move on. I want it to happen, and it's driving me insane. And I don't even care about this team. So we'll get into that more so if Jarrett Smith pops in or not. We'll just keep ranting about Neil Lennon.
We'll keep talking.
Well, let's talk about ConcaChampions because that got everybody riled up on Saturday night, and it could get everybody riled up tomorrow. Actually, let's not get into that. Ricky Ricardo brings up something. George Bello to Borussia Mönchengladbach, which is coming from an anonymous site with about 500 followers.
Yeah.
You gotta look at where things are coming from a little bit. Is Borussia Mönchengladbach tracking American players, including George Bello? They should be. If they're doing their jobs, they should be. But this is the time of year where there's going to be a lot of stuff, and some of it will have validity, some of it won't. Some of it will just be completely made up. I don't know this site. I think they're actually pretty new that has posted this.
Joined December 2020.
Well, there you go. That would be pretty new, wouldn't it? I mean, I can't put anything into it. Like, would George Bello be a candidate to go to Europe? Yeah, I've been saying that for 2 years now. He's a very talented player. Would he potentially go in the January window? Sure, if the offer's right. Beyond that, I mean, it's not even saying anything, the tweet. It's just saying that, well, let's go ahead and pull it up. Let's go ahead and give them their buzz. Okay, read the tweet. I don't care who it is. We're not giving the account the publicity. But what does the tweet say?
Breaking news.
Breaking news is probably going to be the first error in it. Okay.
Sources tell me.
Sources tell me. Who is me? Is there a name? No. Okay, just checking.
No. Sources tell me. And I'm guessing we're supposed to think of this as the collective account. Sources.
I don't know. Is it one person? Is it a group of people? Is it a collective me? I mean, is it the formal ustedes? I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Sources tell me several German clubs, including Gladbach, are closely watching Atlanta United's George Bello.
I would assume that lots of clubs are closely watching George Bello because he's pretty freaking good. That's the scouting report you can mark down.
Atlanta did select Andrew Gutmann in the re-entry draft.
Yes, that part is accurate. They did.
The 18-year-old homegrown would be yet another big transfer out of MLS. Atlanta want him to stay one more year.
He would be, and the rest of it is pure speculation. Okay.
Gladbach certainly makes sense, considering Joe Scally is joining them any week now.
That does not make it make sense because they signed another American player. Okay.
In my opinion, they got an absolute.
I thought it was breaking news. Oh, this is opinion about Scally. My bad. Sorry.
In my opinion, they got an absolute bargain for him. So why not get another American for cheap compared to other top leagues? ? Bello has Davies-esque potential.
Yeah, he does. I've said that before. It's scary to say. You don't want to put that hype on somebody, but yeah, absolutely, he's got that potential. I don't like giving oxygen to these sorts of things, but I know people jump on them, and I know Ricky knows it's not real, and others know it's not real. But you really got to be careful with this stuff because, one, like when you share it, not everybody knows it's not real. People will see it and say, it's an account that says MLS and roar. Is Borussia Mönchengladbach tracking George Bello? Yes. They are probably tracking almost every player on Atlanta United's roster, along with every other roster in MLS, and along with every other league that is available to track in the world, because that's what they do. It's always the standard thing to say that so-and-so is tracking this player, or they're closely watching this player, or whatever. Like, it's such a generic term. You don't just have a list of 10 guys you're closely watching at any given time. You have a database of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of players. You know, and when you've had American players go to the Bundesliga, as we have seen lately, when you've had players from Major League Soccer go to the Bundesliga and do well, you're going to see the league covered by scouts in a very, very intentional way. So any player with a good value and youth on their side and quality is going to be looked at. It's just what it is. You know, it's just reality. George Bello, as we've been saying for years, will go to Europe and will have the potential to be the left back for the U.S. men's national team very, very soon. Will he go to Europe tomorrow? If the offer's right. Will he go next year? If the offer's right. Like, yes, he will. We just don't know when, and just sites like this can lead people down rabbit holes and create a bunch of nonsense. So, could it be accurate that Borussia Mönchengladbach wants to sign George Bello? Yeah, because it's not a crazy thing to throw out there. Yep. But there's nothing behind it to go with, and there's no credibility to say, okay, the anonymous me here that we don't know who it is from a site that just launched, or a Twitter account that just launched this month, I'm not backing it. Cesar Luis Merlo says something, you know, somebody with credibility says something, okay, we're having a different conversation. This, like, yes, you could make up whatever rumor you want that is somewhat plausible and put anonymous sources on it, and boom, there you go. That's not breaking news. So, Bello will be in Europe. Don't know when. Mönchengladbach could absolutely be a club that is interested in George Bello, but there's nothing to go on here. So, there you go. Ricky wants to continue down this road. While we're giving things oxygen, why does everyone want Miguel Herrera to go to Charlotte? Please go almost anywhere else, sir. I don't know. Charlotte was the one that some jumped on and said would be the one that makes the most sense. I thought Miami immediately. Yeah. Did you think Miami immediately, John?
I thought Sadi for Charlotte, and
you thought who? What? From
Sadi, Maurizio Sadi for Charlotte.
Why did you think Maurizio Sadi for Charlotte?
Because of the R.J. Reynolds cross promotion would be absolutely amazing.
Okay, are you really being serious, or what are you getting at here?
No, I'm not being
serious. So you thought about Maurizio Sarri for Charlotte, or you're making a joke?
Just making the joke because of the smoke.
You're making a joke. Okay, got it. It's not in Raleigh. It's Charlotte. I think that's a little different, isn't it?
Well, North Carolina is all tobacco.
Man, that's a bold statement. Sorry, North Carolina. We've lost all of our North Carolina listeners now.
Yes, but no, I would have thought that. I would have thought that Miami would have made sense to me for Herrera.
Well, Charlotte can make sense. Miami can make sense. LA Galaxy can make sense. Toronto can make sense. He's a manager who's won trophies. Any of them can make sense. The first place that popped into mind for me was Miami because of their situation with Diego Alonso, and I think they need to make a big splash.
Exactly.
LA Galaxy came up, but I think they're probably, I'd hope so by now, too far down the road with Greg Vanny to support that. So, DC, I don't see making that happen. I don't think they have that kind of ambition. Toronto, at least other names have been mentioned. I think they'll look to Europe before they'll look to Mexico. Miami already looked to Mexico when they went and got Diego Alonso. I know he's not Mexican, but he was managing in Mexico. So it could make a lot of sense, and I think they need a big splash. I don't know if Herrera wants to sit out a year, and that was the other reason I wasn't really thinking about Charlotte. So it's not crazy because there is a large Mexican population there, but as we saw with Chivas USA, I think one thing you got to keep in mind is in places where there's a large Mexican population, they have strong opinions about people and figures and teams. And if, the Club America fans who had previously loved El Piojo and others who might like him, there's going to be some who can't stand him there too. So, I mean, just because he is from Liga MX and has had successful runs in Mexico doesn't mean that he would be embraced by all Mexican fans. That's all. Chris Ashley warns you too. Careful crossing the Charlotte and Raleigh streams. Those two towns do not like one another. He just lumped them all together.
I lump the state together as a source of revenue for tobacco.
That's just that's rough. J-Dub asked if we're already rivals with Charlotte, and I would say yes.
Yes, with what Tepper said coming out of the blocks at his press conference.
He wants to be rivals anyway.
So no, he starts talking like that at the presser. Yep, all right, we're rivals. All right, you've laid down the gauntlet, sir. We'll go from there.
Well, you're giving David Tepper a whole lot of power. He gets to call it.
No.
Well, you just said he did.
He's fired the first shot. So let's see what happens. He's fired the first shot. So let's see what happens on the pitch there, Bucko.
No, not just the pitch. The fans too. I mean, their fans have rallied behind that idea. We'll see if Atlanta supporters get into it in that way when they come into the league next year. Atlanta supporters actually have a season to look forward to, and we'll be talking about that first. I think when Charlotte comes in and you have that first home and away with them, it'll be a big deal. I think it will be a great rivalry, but just because Tepper has said so doesn't mean it is. It's got to be the fans that make it a rivalry. That's why I think Orlando is a rivalry, because the fans don't like each other. And that's fine.
And what I'm looking forward to, and I hope happens, is that I know that Charlotte is looking at the club level and the lower level for their attendance for year one. I hope that for the Atlanta match and select matches that they open up the whole B of A, because for the first Atlanta-Charlotte match, you're going to need that upper deck being open.
If you're Charlotte, would you want to open the upper deck and have it full of red and black?
Oh, no. But you put all the Atlanta United folks, and you put all the Atlanta United folks in the upper deck. But you're going to want that revenue, though.
Yeah, but are you going to want to have a whole 20,000 in red and black like Nashville did?
Do you want the ticket sales, or do you want?
Do you think David Tepper needs those ticket sales in the worst way?
I would think it would make for good TV visuals if you had the entire building sold out.
I will disagree with all of you, because I think you're getting some people on board here. If I am David Tepper,
you want it to be as intimate as possible, so you can keep all the Atlanta United folks out.
I want to keep the Atlanta United folks out. I will limit as best as I can the amount of Atlanta United fans who are there, and I will make it abundantly clear to people that's what I am doing. And I will tell all of my supporters, I want this to be Charlotte fans and Charlotte fans only, except for the amount of tickets that I have to give to Atlanta United. So we're going to open as many seats as you guys can buy, and you have to be on our mailing list, and you have to be one of our season ticket holders, and you have to be X, Y, or Z, and we're going to do this as best as we can to fill it with whatever shade of blue they are calling it, and that's it. I would be so upfront about that to continue what you're doing, because as great as Nashville was for Atlanta fans, I didn't get the impression that Nashville necessarily loved that situation.
Yeah.
Because that stadium felt almost half and half.
I know it did.
And Charlotte might. Matt, I think you're misunderstanding me. Charlotte might do this. They might learn their lesson. They should have learned it from Nashville, and they would be very smart to do everything possible to sell to their fans and their fans only, and make a big deal of it, because you don't want to get shouted down in your own stadium.
No.
Nashville did on day one. Now, Nashville also then, there wasn't anything else because of 2020, so it's almost washed away, so it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But for Charlotte, with everything they have said, they don't want that, because they're not going to be able to come to Atlanta and buy all of those tickets, because Atlanta United fans will buy those tickets. It's going to be interesting. This stuff is going to continue to grow as the league grows, and you'll have some interesting conversations with away fans and stuff. I think David Tepper will be pretty smart about this because I think he's made it clear what he wants this to be. And if I was him after the statements I've made, I would be very clear in limiting the attendance to not let a whole bunch of visiting fans in. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think Atlanta-Charlotte will be a great rivalry. We'll see where Piojo goes. Is it Charlotte? Probably not. Is it Miami? Maybe. Is it sit out for a little while? Probably the most likely scenario. Is it Cruz Azul? That'd be hilarious. I would be so on board with that. If he went to Cruz Azul. Too. Yes, Gwen is barking, yes. Cruz Azul would be so funny after getting run out of town in Club America and go across town to Cruz Azul. That'd be amazing. Let's get into ConcaChampions. So the finals tomorrow night. For those of you who are subscribers on Twitch, and we had a bunch of new ones today, thank you very much, and members of our Patreon, you are in the Discord, and our Discord will be having probably a lot of conversation about that match tomorrow night going on because that's what happened Saturday night with all the madness. Now, CONCACAF has come out and talked about the madness from Saturday night. What they have said is that there will not be a reversal of the red card to Edward Atuesta. Regulations of the Scotiabank CONCACAF Champions League clearly state that referee decisions on the field are final. From an integrity perspective, they cannot change the rules at this late stage of the competition, not overturning red cards. That's what was expected. Miguel Herrera, Ante Razov, 4 match suspensions for unsporting conduct. I think that is really good. Additionally, Herrera will get 1 more match for continuing to communicate with the team after being ejected from the match. So he was breaking a CONCACAF rule by using the walkie-talkie. So he's got 5 games. Whenever he is in CONCACAF again, he will have to watch it from his hotel room or elsewhere. Ante Razov, 4 games. That'll start tomorrow night. Completely accurate. I have no problem with this. 4 games, strong, good, all good. VAR will be involved in CONCACAF Champions League in 2021 and in the CONCACAF Gold Cup in 2021. Thank you, CONCACAF, for catching up to the rest of the world. That's all you got?
I didn't have that. I didn't have that trigger. I didn't have that drop handy.
I didn't think that drop was that necessary, but okay.
They made the decision in 19 to roll it out for 2021 onwards. They've been training and developing refs according to the release to deliver on the commitment. And, if there ever was a shining example that VAR was needed, it was the shenanigans that happened over the weekend. So glad that there's a timetable and it's long overdue.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
There's going to be some spots that could be a challenge, and I'll be very curious to see what they do with, especially Champions League, starting up in February because of how it could look. Before we finish off this edition of the Champions League with the final tomorrow, let's look ahead at who is in the 2021 Champions League. There is 1 spot left, and it is the Canadian Championship winner. Who is left in that match, John?
It's Toronto and Forge, I think.
Yes. That will be played sometime in January?
Sometime in January.
Is that definite, or are we still guessing?
No, it is definite that it will be played sometime in January.
Okay, got it. From Mexico, Monterrey, Cruz Azul, Club America, and León are in the Champions League. From MLS, Columbus, Philadelphia, Portland, and Atlanta as the 2019 U.S. Open Cup champions. Shrug emoji. From the Dominican Republic, they won the spot through the Caribbean Football Union, Atletico Pantoja. From Honduras, you've got Olympia and Marathon, CONCACAF League semifinalists and play-in winners, respectively. Costa Rica, you've got Saprissa and Alajuelense, CONCACAF League semifinalists. From Haiti, I am not up on my French. Arcahai?
I think it's RK. I think it's
RK.
Yeah.
So the okay. Again, I'm not up on my French. It's a lot of letters for RK.
I know.
French, strange. Or Creole, I guess it could be.
For me, I thought it was Arcahai. but then there were other pronouncers in competition that went that direction. So that's why I went with I'm hearing RK, so I'm going with that.
Where were you hearing that, just to be safe?
Both networks that were broadcasting.
Both networks. Got it. Okay, that's what I wanted to check. Real Esteli from Nicaragua is another play-in winner. So you've got, out of everybody in the tournament, you could have half of the tournament in leagues that don't use VAR. It's going to present some challenges. We'll see how CONCACAF sorts that out. But I am glad they are doing it, and I hope they are working on said challenges. Burned says, Memo Ochoa made sure there will be VAR in CONCACAF Champions League. Thank you, Memo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was something. That was something, Memo. So tomorrow, Tigres, LAFC. Tigres, not 100%. Tuca Ferretti confirms that Gignac is a doubt. Javier Aquino, doubt. We're hoping that tomorrow, with work and recovery, they can get into form. I hope to be able to count on them tomorrow. Tom Marshall with the quotes from Tuca Ferretti's media availability today. Gignac has said that he ain't retiring until he wins the CONCACAF Champions League. I love that they're putting the importance on the tournament. Tigres has never won it. LAFC never won it. This is the first final of anything that LAFC has been in. Tigres has been really close to CONCACAF Champions League or Champions Cup quite a few times over the years. They have never won it. One of them will be going into the Club World Cup.
Juice boxes currently.
Okay.
Tigres at a plus 146. Once again, this is in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Tigres is a plus 146, LAFC is a plus 170, and your draw is a plus 227.
That feels about right. Those feel really accurate. I think Tigres is a slight favorite.
Yeah. Those numbers have compressed over the last day or so. Initially, when LAFC was in the door, they were closer to plus 200, north of plus 200 in some spots, but that has come down to plus 170 right now.
Yeah, those feel really, really accurate. That feels about right. Burned is calling BS on the Gignac story. Feels like it is the classic BS before a game where there are no rules on injury disclosures. I think he has been dealing with an injury. It could be exaggerated for this, absolutely. Tuca Ferretti is no dummy. He's been around the block a few times. But he has been dealing with an injury, and Aquino went off injured in the Olympia match in the semifinal. So maybe exaggerated. I don't think it's complete BS. I think maybe that's a little unfair. We shall see. All right, let's get into some of the European situations from the weekend. Since John is an English snob, let's start there. What did you think about Manchester United and Leeds?
I know that folks were shocked at the score, but, you look at it, but understand that Leeds is going to have these swings in results. You're going to have everything go well for you. Leeds will put up a big number. Sometimes you'll have Leeds who is not going to deviate from their plan, and no matter what changes Bielsa may make at halftime, sometimes the results aren't there. And the players admitted post-match that they were making mistakes, and that if this is paraphrasing Patrick Bamford, that if they play their game the way that they're supposed to, they will win every match. There were some mistakes that were made in transition that created opportunities for Manchester United, and this is a result that you got.
You give up early goals, you're in a really bad spot. And Leeds is not going to quit, and they kept pushing forward. A great goal late from them, but you can't give up goals like they did and get results when you are against a team with a whole lot more talent. And you look at the Premier League and you look at the valuations according to Transfermarkt, and let's see if they are holding true to some form here. So, overall squad valuation, Leeds is actually 17th. So they are playing above that to be in 14th. West Brom is at the bottom. They're next to the bottom, so that feels about right. Burnley is next to the bottom in squad valuation. They're in 16th. They're playing over their heads. Sheffield United, 18th in squad valuation, 20th for real. They did pick up a point. Probably should have picked up 3, but they're Sheffield United this year, and this is what happens. Yep. Leeds is next. They are ahead of where they should be according to the squad valuation. Crystal Palace is next, so that would be 16th in squad valuation, 13th in the table. Okay. Fulham is next, and Fulham is not living up to their squad valuation. That's a problem.
Yes.
Brighton is 14th in the squad valuation, and they are 17th in the league. That's a problem. Southampton is next, and they are way above where they should be according to squad valuation.
Yep.
That would put them, 13th in squad valuation, and they are 7th in the table. That might be the biggest fluctuation. Newcastle's next, and Newcastle is right where they should be. West Ham is after that. They're pretty much where they should be. Aston Villa, pretty much where they should be. Wolves, a little below where they should be, but pretty much. Leicester is next, playing above their heads. Everton, playing above their heads, not by a huge amount. Arsenal. Arsenal is 6th in the Premier League in squad valuation. This is from Transfermarkt. It's valuation. It's not exact. But they are 6th in squad valuation, and they are in 15th place. That is the biggest over or under performing number. Tottenham's 5th.
Gunnersaurus didn't die for this.
He might have. Tottenham's right where they should be. Manchester United right where they should be. Chelsea, actually a little below where they should be, but just a couple of spots. Manchester City is 2nd. They are in 8th. That is very bad. Pep. And Liverpool is 1st, and Liverpool is 1st. Money talks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plucky upstarts. Absolutely. Mikel Arteta, Jarrett. We keep talking about it. It keeps looking bad. Does he make it to New Year's?
I don't. I mean,
that's how I feel too.
He shouldn't. It's just kind of like I keep waiting for him to hit bedrock, and then he keeps finding a new layer underneath it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. With a competent team or with a competent ownership group that's looking at things realistically, he shouldn't see the new year. Now, what we've done here, though, is we've replaced the Arsenal board with the Celtic board, and we're going to see who notices.
I already ripped Celtic to shreds earlier. We'll do it again, but you're going to have to wait.
That's fine. I had a stat for you I wanted to give you when we do that. So,
oh, boy.
About Scott Brown.
I can't wait. I'm so excited to hear about that. TalkSport has a list of 3 managers who could be considered if they move on from Mikel Arteta. Max Allegri? Yay, nay?
Why would you want it?
Why are you besmirching Massimiliano Allegri, John?
No, I'm not besmirching Allegri. I'm besmirching Arsenal as a destination.
So he's been out of work for a long time, and he wouldn't want it. Well, I'm going to tell you why you would want it. They have a roster valued at the number 6 spot in the Premier League. That's not chump change. They should be doing much better than they are. That's why you would take it. So that's why you would take it. Why would you not take one of the biggest clubs in England?
For me, I look at to me, it's like the pitch of misfit toys. It's like, what is wrong with you folks? If it's the manager and it's just a managerial change, fantastic. Bring in a new manager, and then things will be all hunky dory. But is it just Arteta and what he wants to have them do out there? Has he lost the room? Is the message gone? Are they interested? Do they even want to be there right now?
Well, there's quite a bit of talk that he's lost the room. This feels very different than Ole and the constant back and forth about him losing his job at Manchester United, which feels like people creating drama. There's a lot of weird things going on at Arsenal. Burns says Adu shouldn't see the new year. He is the sporting director, I believe is his official title, technical director, sporting director, general manager, whatever you want to call it. You can blame a lot of the roster mismatches due to him. There is talk that Mark Overmars could be in line to be that person at Arsenal. He is leaving Ajax, and he's not going to Barcelona, according to reports. Manchester United and Arsenal have been linked with Overmars. He's done an amazing job at Ajax. That would make a ton of sense, especially with the situation they're in. And, oh, yeah, by the way, he kind of has a little bit of a history there. So that would make a lot of sense. Yeah, I think the managers are part of the problem, though. And I like Arteta. I like what he could be.
Yeah.
I like his pedigree. But when he starts telling me about crosses and how important they are and how close they are, and you watch his team play, I think he's in over his head at the moment. And that's not all on him, but I don't think he can fix it. So Allegri is one name on TalkSport's list. And they have a long list, but the three that they teased in their tweet, Allegri is number one. Jarrett's favorite, Brendan Rodgers, is number two. Jarrett, thoughts?
He takes the job in the middle of the night and leaves Leicester, and they miss out on a Champions League spot.
Well, he's got a history of that, doesn't he?
You know, it's funny you ask.
How did that go down at Glasgow, by the way?
He, by multiple reports, was ready to take the Leicester job. Leicester was ready to wait. He said, no, I'll go now. Celtic was in the middle of a battle because that was the first time Rangers had fielded a competent team since, 2012, maybe.
Mm-hmm. What year was this, by the way? How long has this been going on?
Oh, my God.
Was it 18?
Was 18 or 17?
Yeah, 17 or 18. I can't remember if where it fell in that year.
He took the job in the middle of a race at the top. Like Celtic was winning the league, but it wasn't so much that if they had tripped over their own feet, they could have potentially lost the league that year. It wasn't sewn up when he left. That was my issue.
So he left in the middle of the night. You're still not happy about it, correct?
No, but I can separate it enough to sit here and tell you that he's a good manager. He really is.
Talk Sports, first two paragraphs. Many would question why Rodgers would leave second place Leicester for 15th place Arsenal, but there has always been a feeling the former Liverpool boss wants another crack at their traditional Big Six. He would surely be one of the first names on the Arsenal board's list, and he left Scottish giant Celtic midway through a campaign to take over at struggling Leicester. Nah.
So this is my thing about, that was always, I think, the thing that kind of hurt feelings was he didn't leave Celtic for, the Leicester that is there now.
Right.
Leicester was in bad way at that point, and he had just come off of an Immortals season at Celtic where they went an entire season without losing a single game domestically, which I don't care if it's Scotland. I don't. You go an entire year in any league without losing a game, that's a big deal. I don't give a damn what league you're in. That doesn't matter to me because when you play that many games, play that many cup competitions, something's going to get sideways on you at some point. Something's going to break against you. The fact that it didn't was insane, and that goes for any team in any league on any planet. It should be celebrated. If you're Arsenal, you at least call him, right?
Oh yeah,
you call him and say, "Hey, man, sure. you want to do this again?"
Yeah, you absolutely do. You're calling a lot of people. Yeah, John, I'm going to send you down a rabbit hole. I know somebody's got odds on the next Arsenal manager. I want to know what they are.
All right.
Next on Talk Sports list, Patrick Vieira. Club legend, yes. He has managerial experience, yes. He was just sacked by Nice. Would he be better, and especially going into potentially a relegation battle? Do you want to turn to Patrick Vieira? Or, number 4 on the list, do you want to turn to Thierry Henry? Managerial experience. Montreal Impact. Champions League. TalkSport describes his first spell at Monaco as a total disaster. That's your 4.
Wasn't great.
That's your 4. Relegation battle. That's the thing. Like, the only one that sounds like somebody going into a relegation battle that would make sense is Allegri.
Yeah.
Rodgers, I don't know if he's the guy to get you out of where you are unless you just feel like Arteta is screwing this up.
They were 15th when he went there and got the nose above the line at least. I think if you're Arsenal, you're absolutely calling them and saying, "Hey, you want to do it again, but at a bigger team?"
Fair enough, and there's no way they should be where they are, and he would, I think, give them the kind of football that they want at Arsenal. So yeah, okay, if he's got that experience, then maybe I'm being unfair to Brendan Rodgers. Allegri feels like the one who could survive craziness here, but Rodgers has done it before. He did it with a lesser team. So would he do it again and try to trade up midseason? That's the one that, man, I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I think he would do it in a heartbeat.
You're a little biased.
Well, no, I think he would do it in a heartbeat to take over that Arsenal team. And speaking selfishly, if it was me, it's one thing. It's one thing if you. Sorry, someone just messaged me that Bo Pelini's out. And I know this
that
already.
Is true.
I'm already happy. Auburn dropped $20-something billion on Malzahn. LSU dropping $5 million on Bo Pelini getting out to chump change these days. Yeah, it's one thing to take Leicester, who, granted, we remember the greatest underdog season we will probably ever see, but to take one of the big 6 and pull them out of a flat spin, that has to stroke the ego. And I think he's that kind of guy that likes to have his ego massaged a bit and likes to build upon that and thinks highly of himself enough to do that. And I think that is absolutely a feather that he would want to put in the cap.
I can buy all of that.
You want your numbers courtesy of Paddy Power?
Paddy Power always coming through in the clutch. Who is Paddy Power putting as the favorite to be the next Arsenal manager?
They have a list of 8.
Okay. Oh, more than TalkSport. TalkSport only had 4. I can't wait to see who 5 through 8 is.
So Paddy Power's number 1 is Max Allegri at 2-1.
2-1. Wow, I didn't know if it'd be that high. He feels. I mean, he'd be easy. He's out of work. You just go bring him in. Done. Okay, who's next?
Thomas Tuchel at 4-1.
Ooh, as the next Arsenal manager.
Yep.
Not like the Arsenal manager next year, like the next.
The next permanent Arsenal manager odds as of December 7th.
No way he's December 7th.
Yeah.
Okay. No way he's leaving PSG to go to Arsenal tomorrow. No way. That's ludicrous. Who's third?
Brendan Rodgers at 15-2.
Jarrett, what do you think about that number?
Buy. Like I'm buying orange juice futures on the floor with Leon.
I agree. Burns says Tuchel fits the Arsenal culture. I totally agree. I just don't think he's going to leave mid-season, and I think Arsenal's going to have to make a move. That's why I'm down on that one.
Yeah.
Well, it's also saying for permanent manager, and it's blasphemous to suggest they would punt, but would they just put an interim in just to try and limp this thing across the line, then make a permanent manager hire next summer?
Big Sam just took a job, Jarrett.
Mark Hughes is available. Alan Pardue probably get out of his current gig.
Just put an interim in for
Uh-oh. What you got?
What about Rafa?
He is 8th at 18-1.
That's a big wild card. That's a big, big wild card. I don't know about that. So Brendan's third at a pretty favorable number. Who's fourth?
Tie. Vieira and Simeone at 10-1.
What? Somebody's in the eggnog already.
Simeone ain't leaving nothing.
No, that's absurd. Anybody who's putting money on that's insane. All right, what else you got on the list?
Will respect this, but somebody got into the good glue vine.
Okay, I don't even know what that is. I'm kind of afraid to find out.
It's a German Christmas wine. You drink it warm. It's delicious.
Okay, fair enough. Who else?
Henry is sixth at 12-1.
Okay, not touching it.
And then Freddie Ljungberg is 16-1 in seventh.
Oh, what is old Freddie doing these days? Bang, 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 keyboard, bang, 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 bang. John is going to type away.
Of course he is.
God, we've got to get you like a mic stand away from your keyboard or get you some kind of a keyboard that's
mechanical
more quiet.
Keyboard, like like a blue cherry click-clack mechanical keyboard that sounds like two mice on like having a duel while tap dancing. Like the loudest damn keyboard I can get in.
There you go.
As of 22 August of this year, Freddie Ljungberg was leaving Arsenal to pursue his career somewhere else.
That's really not helpful.
No, so he's basically on the beach right now.
So it's a Western.
Yeah,
so he's on the beach as of late August.
He is not going back to Arsenal. That's not happening. So that Brendan Rodgers one feels like the best number for a plausible scenario. I kind of like it. I might get some peppermint bark and talk to Paddy Power on it about it.
There you go.
That might work. I'm very intrigued by this.
All right, so let me check my numbers here. I've gone to the sackrace.com.
Okay, that's a little different. That's who's going to get fired next, correct?
Yeah.
Is he...
Oh, wait, no, this is actually next Arsenal manager odds under that category of Arteta getting fired.
Okay.
So a little over 2-1 is Allegri.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Brendan Rodgers 3-1.
Yeah.
Tuchel at 5.5-1, basically 11-2.
I just don't think they can get him out of PSG until the season's over.
Rafa is fourth at 10-1.
What else?
As are Simeone and Patrick Vieira.
Why is Simeone coming up on these things? Is it just arrogance that he would leave Atleti and go to Arsenal? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No. Thierry Henry's at 12-1. Gianpiero Gasparini is at 14-1.
Well, it sounds like he's staying, so I don't see that one at all.
Eddie Howe at 16-1.
It's a name. That's a name that hasn't come up yet, and he wanted to break. He'd take it in a heartbeat.
Yep.
I would think.
Yep. They've got Freddie Ljungberg at 16-1. Gerrard at 17-1. Steven Gerrard.
What?
Steven Gerrard at 17-1.
That's insanity. Not happening.
That seems very sacrilegious. That's putting that there because somebody is going to get into the good stuff and place numbers on stupid places, and you'll make a couple bucks.
Yes, is Wayne Rooney on the list?
No, but Big Sam is.
Well, Big Sam's busy these days.
As of yesterday, Big Sam was still on the list. Roberto Martinez is 20-1.
That's not too crazy, but I don't think he leaves a Belgium team that could be a World Cup favorite when we get to 2022.
Pochettino's at 20-1.
I'm surprised his name hasn't come up, but it's the Tottenham thing. So
let's put Miguel Herrera at Arsenal.
Sure, Arsenal would love that. Thad Dooley, who is
he just squares off with the Klopp.
He might square off with Gunnar Soros. Thad Dooley, who's an Arsenal fan, I asked him what he would do, and I have not gotten an answer yet on which direction he would go. But he did say, keep most of these guys away from my club.
Yes. Marco Rose from Borussia Mönchengladbach is at 25-1.
That's not crazy. That's not crazy. I got some candy for that one.
Sadi is also at 25-1.
I'm putting the Andes Peppermint Crunches on the. Sorry, he's not going there. He's not going back to England. He doesn't want that nonsense. The Marco Rose Andes Peppermint Crunch candies. I like it. 25-1. Yeah, it's crazy. I like it.
Nagelsmann at 33-1.
No, he ain't leaving where he's at.
Saul Campbell at 40-1. I mean, his last club was Southend United, and he's suing them just so he gets paid.
Yeah, it's not good. That's not happening.
And
There's some madness on this thing.
Yeah, and then your favorite former Arsenal manager.
He's not going back.
Listed at 40-1, and then Big Sam's listed at 50-1. And it says, this is funny. It says, Sam Allardyce, current team, West Bromwich Albion. Time with team, 6 days.
Yeah, 6 days. I mean, he would leave if he got the chance, but
no,
it's not happening. Not happening. Let's see. So let's put it down to timing here at this point. Sorry, Thad. We're just really raking your team over the coals. I apologize. But you look at what's coming up. It is the Gummy Bear Cup tomorrow with Manchester City. Then it's Chelsea on Boxing Day. Gummy Bear Cup, if you want to advance in that and scrap the City game, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that because the two games that matter are Brighton and West Brom. Take care of business there, you got yourself some time. You take care of business there, he gets some time. If he loses either one of those, he's gone.
Yeah.
I think, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'm at. The rest of it doesn't matter. I think it's those two games. If he loses either one of them, he's got to go.
Yeah, I think so.
He might sit there and tell you about, God, what did he say? I mean, this is madness. This is what he said.
Oh, the stats thing?
No, well, yeah. I mean, he said last year we won against Everton with a 25% chance of winning. You win 3-2. Last weekend it was a 67% chance of winning any Premier League game in history and a 9% chance of losing, and you lose 3% against Burnley, and you lose 7% against Spurs, and you lose. What?
There is something else apart from that.
Reading the Atlanta Falcons win probability chart I see.
Yeah, it's like there is something else apart from that. It is not just the performance on the pitch. It is something else that needs to go our way, and at the moment it doesn't. Saying that, it doesn't care because you lose, and the only thing that cares is that you lose a football match, and this is what we hear, end quote.
Since the October international break.
Is he Les Miles actually in disguise?
Maybe. Since the October international break, 3 goals. That's 20th out of 20. Shots on target, 27. That's 19th out of 20. Shooting accuracy, 35%, 20th. Shot conversion rate, 2.9%, 20th. Yeah, I don't care about percentages to win. You're not producing anything, dude. They've got to win both of those games against the other two. That'll buy him time. There are roster problems, but I feel like he is really struggling with the situation that he's in. Ole never gave you these kinds of impressions when things got bad, and you got to bounce back pretty fast whenever the pressure would ratchet up on Ole. Arteta feels like he is flailing for things to say right now. It's no bueno. No bueno at all. It's just not going to work. So he's got to win the 2 games against the other relegation battlers because they're in a relegation fight. That's the crazy thing, is they are the 6th most valuable roster in the Premier League, and they are in a relegation fight. That should not happen.
Yeah, they're just not good right now. And it doesn't seem like there's any it's literally flailing is the best word. They just sit there and it's just like they're just kind of flapping right now, and there's nothing happening. They're just kind of sitting there in the middle of the lake, and they can flap their arms all you want, but there's no movement towards shore. It looks awful right now.
J-Dub, if Arteta loses to Burnley, is he out? Yeah, he's got to win these games against the teams around him, or he's got to go. Because, they might get into a hole that they can't necessarily play their way out of. They've got the talent that they shouldn't be in the situation, but they are, and that's the reality. So I don't know. Let's get into this Mo Salah thing. And now, since we've trashed Arsenal for a while, we'll talk about Liverpool.
Plucky upstarts.
Yes, sorry to all the Liverpool fans, but what is going on with this Mo Salah nonsense? Like, why is this even a story that now there is a thought that he could be leaving Liverpool because he's unhappy or unappreciated or what? I mean, what's the deal?
I thought he was one of the most well-appreciated players in the world based on club. Like, did I miss something?
He is allegedly unhappy. He spoke in an interview and talked about how big Real Madrid and Barcelona are and how he wouldn't rule anything out about playing there. And also, allegedly, he is not happy about not being the stand-in captain for the last game of the Champions League campaign. And his former Egypt teammate, Mohamed Aboutrika, is saying, I mean, I don't know if he's had these conversations or what, he is saying that Liverpool are considering selling Mo Salah.
Don't jump out of a perfectly good boat.
Well, the thing is, and Byrne gives a good point, you know, is this all nonsense? But it's coming from a lot of different places.
Yeah.
That's what's weird about it. Like, it's not just one site with all of this stuff in an anonymous thing, whatever. Like, different elements are coming from different sources. That's where it's like, wait a minute, what is going on? The Daily Mail had the update on Aboutrika, or at least one of the places that had the comments from Aboutrika, and they mentioned the captain thing against Midtjylland where Klopp gave it to Trent Alexander-Arnold instead. They mentioned the interview that Mo Salah gave with AS in Spain, and he refused to rule out a move to Barcelona or Real Madrid. That was said in an interview with a reputable outlet. Aboutrika says he spoke to Mo Salah about the situation. And he told beIN Sports, I called Salah about his situation at Liverpool, and he is upset, but that would never affect his performance on the field. I know that Salah is not happy in Liverpool. He told me the reasons why he is not happy, but they are secrets, and I cannot talk about it in public. But you kind of just did, but you're not talking about the reasons. Yeah, you kind of just
did, didn't you?
One of the reasons, well, he did talk about it. One of the reasons that made Salah angry was that he was not the captain against Midtjylland. If Salah was a player at Real Madrid or Barcelona and playing at the same level as Liverpool, he would have won the Ballon d'Or, and it is normal for a Spanish newspaper to ask Salah about Real Madrid and Barcelona. Totally agree. Aboutrika says, in my opinion, Liverpool are considering selling Salah for economic purposes. Yeah, okay, anyway. But he is saying that Mo Salah told him, and he could be completely making stuff up and talking about it. He is saying that Mo Salah told Aboutrika that he was unhappy about it. Now, the Daily Mail says in that interview with AS, Salah admitted he was frustrated not to be named captain against Midtjylland. He said, honestly, I was very disappointed. I was hoping to be the captain, but it is a coach's decision. I accept it. Why would you say those things publicly to an outlet that you know is going to get attention?
Because you know what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at with it, Jarrett, because, like, it's
an indirect way to go about your business.
Yeah, there's no other plausible thing here, because he hasn't come out, or his people haven't come out to say that AS had the quotes wrong, or fabricated it, or anything. It is just there.
Pull a Paul Pogba and just start talking about it and walking it back after the building's already burned down.
Yeah.
And the ashes have cooled off.
It's bizarre. And he said these things, and now he's got a former national team teammate kind of backing him up, saying, yeah, he told me the same thing.
By the way,
it's weird.
Guess who's not going to spend most Salah money? It's Barcelona.
No, they don't have that
Just
kind
so
of
we're
money.
Clear.
They don't have that kind of money at all. It's very bad. Real Madrid could if they want to. And
Do
if
they want to?
Well, if they don't get Mbappe, I mean, that's the thing about Real Madrid is you got to have stars. You got to have big stars.
What is Liverpool going to ask in a pandemic year for value for Mo Salah? Who is, what is Salah, 29, 30?
I believe he is 30.
28.
28, oh, well.
Oh, cool. Even better.
I'm being unfair to Mo Salah. He is valued at Transfermarkt at $132 million.
That's, I don't care if Real Madrid's on the other line. That's a lot of money to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not getting that.
No.
Burns says, and I think this is valid, if Liverpool had gotten Timo Werner, they would have sold Mane or Salah. I would agree with that. And Burn is, as we're trying to follow why these things are coming out the way that they are, did he get wind of that? Is he angry? Is that one of the secrets that Abutrika doesn't want to tell us? Could be. I mean, could be. You could do it if you're Liverpool, because then you can just go out and spend that money on somebody else. I mean, you could definitely do that. Everybody's losing money right now.
The Liverpool thing to do would be to sell him and then use what you get to buy like 4 great players.
Yep.
Go the Coutinho route.
Yep, it would. I think there's something to it. I just don't know what the end game is right now outside of Real Madrid, because the way things have shifted lately, it sounds like PSG is really, truly rallying to keep Neymar, keep Mbappe, and add Messi.
Yeah.
It feels like that's their goal. So if Real Madrid, who by a lot of accounts was saving up a stockpile for Mbappe, they can't not add a superstar. Like that's the Real Madrid way. If you can't get the one you want, you go get the next one. And I guess vice versa is if Mbappe says, well, no, I really want to go to Real Madrid, I am leaving, then PSG could come into the mix for Salah. So, I mean, you've got two that you could play off of one another, I guess, and you're going to end up in one of those spots and probably make a stupid amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels kind of sleazy. It just does.
It does, and it's also the fact that, personal opinion, interjecting into it.
Go for it.
You do whatever you want if you're Salah. The machine that is Liverpool, I don't think slows down without Salah. So, I mean, I think he's the one who loses out on this kind of move.
He could. I mean, if he ended up at Real Madrid, I don't think he loses out. If he ended up at PSG, he might be losing out. I don't trust PSG as winning a Champions League until they actually do. I'll pull the John logic on that one.
Oh no, they are the Atlanta they are the Atlanta Falcons.
I don't even know if they're that. I don't know what they do next, because they're not keeping Tuchel, it seems like.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, he's a bad guy anyway, so they're not keeping him. That's just what people say from what we hear. He's just a bad guy. Everybody says bad things about him. I don't know. So he's not going to stay. Then you go back to that coaching list, and who are they going to get? You know, are they going to get Pochettino? Are they going to get Allegri? I feel like one or the other, right? I don't know who else would be in that mix for them to be better than what they've got. And is that going to be enough to win if you go get Messi at his age and add to that forward line? I mean, I don't think it's a sure thing. I'm not buying it over a Bayern squad. I'm not buying it over a Mo Salah at Real Madrid added to what they have side. I'm not buying it over a Liverpool side. I think they're always a pretender until they get the right mix, and that includes the manager, and I don't think it's going to happen for them. So, I just don't know what he's angling for unless Mo Salah is just like, you know what, it's time for me to get paid.
You know who would be a fun hire at a place like Arsenal, but would never actually happen?
Oh,
but I would be giddy to watch it happen.
Oh boy, this could get out of hand. Who?
Gargiardo.
Yeah, it's actually a really good shout. I mean, the guy's been to 4 of the last 5 semifinal rounds of the Copa Libertadores. He's done all he can do there. He's got 2 titles.
I always love when you just get nervous about whatever's about to happen and it comes out and it's not that bad.
Yeah, well, because a lot of times it is that bad. You know, I've been doing this show for a while. I know how you guys operate. This time it's not.
One, baby.
I know.
Day one.
I know. This time it's not, though. That would be a very bold move. I would not take it if I'm Gallardo right now because I want no part of a relegation scrap. But if I was able to take it with a preseason and with some money to work with, absolutely I would. And it'd be a good
no
hire.
place you go into is going to be nearly as terrifying as going into a Palmeiras. So
yeah, he's seen some things.
He's going to tell them, you guys have nothing to be afraid of here.
A North London derby? Really? This is what we're going to talk about?
Yeah.
We had to go play on another continent, okay? Yeah. I can handle it. Our fans destroyed the bus of our opponents with the police watching.
Yep.
I can handle a North London derby, guys.
Rich Ransom came in on Twitter, and he says, a week ago, on SDH, Jason, you named bad Premier League managers, all of whom happen to be English. Granted, they're all on the old side. But has the game passed the English manager? And Rich also says, and bring Arsene back to Arsenal.
He ain't going back. Who is the great young English managers? Who are they? Where are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Waiting.
No, that's the thing. It's
Arsene, Wenger going back would be like Schneider going back to Kansas State after all those years, after he's got the name, the facility, and everything.
That's not happening.
Oh, no, it's not happening.
Who are the great young English managers?
That's the question.
Stevie G? Well,
maybe. I want to see more.
Yeah,
but I want to see more outside of Scotland. And he's doing everything right up there right now. So I can't really say much else about that.
Eddie Howe? D. Graham throws Eddie Howe's name in the mix?
Yeah.
Brendan, if you count him as young.
Brendan's fine. Yeah, I good man.
I mean, yep. I would like to see Eddie Howe with a budget and see how he is with more than what he had to work with financially at Bournemouth. And that, to me, would be another gauge for Eddie Howe for me, because you were able to find Eddie Howe in a situation where he could do enough with talent that could be there for a year before it was sold on and you had to regroup, do just enough to survive until injuries and a lack of offense, and finally the sales caught up with Bournemouth and they were finally relegated. But they are right now in the top 3 in the championship. So, I'd like to see, like I said, I'd like to see Eddie Howe with a budget and see what happens.
Winter Wind throws Gareth Southgate into the mix. Thoughts?
I'm sure. Is he young? By what? Yeah. What's our definition of young?
Yeah, Southgate's young.
Yeah, he's young. He's young. He likes to wear the waistcoats, so I like Gareth Southgate.
Okay.
He dresses like he came out of Downton Abbey, so ironically, that makes him young.
Yeah, it does. I'm good with Gareth Southgate. I'll be very curious to see what happens to him after the World Cup cycle's done.
Yeah, and that's the next thing for me. It's like, after the World Cup cycle, then what do you want to do next?
He should.
And the question of, do you risk him hanging on too long, like Yogi Löw?
Yeah, I don't think he does. I don't see that one happening. I think he will be at a club at some point after that World Cup. I don't think he sticks around. I'm just not buying it. D. Graham defines young as sub 50. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
So Lampard, I think, is in the mix too. I mean, we've talked Gerrard. Lampard's got to be in the mix. He's done a good job at Chelsea so far. He took Derby to a playoff in the championship. He's got to be in that mix.
So we're looking at Gerrard, Lampard, Eddie Howe, and Gareth Southgate, and Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
So those are the 5 that we have that are young English managers.
It's not bad.
Probably some we're missing that just haven't.
There's some at lower divisions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going through the championship and trying to see who's there now. And
see, Domer, I would
such
not
a meritocracy though.
Yeah.
To get some of those guys to break through.
Right. Domer, I would not go John Terry yet because he hasn't managed. He's been an assistant. So he's not in the mix for me. It's got to be somebody with some managerial experience. He could be, but we've got to see it first on him.
It's infuriating to me that just the meritocracy that exists with all of it.
Big Sam, give him another shot.
The constant hiring of Sam Allardyce, part and parcel.
It's always the same old guys. We do the same thing in American football. We hire the same old crusty white guys who don't have a new idea. Some young guy is going to come along. He's going to light things on fire. And then we're going to pull a Sean McVay, who, by the way, the Falcons should call after that game Sunday. Absolutely call Sean McVay to come home, please. But you're going to find some young English manager who is lighting it up. And then you're going to start hiring guys who were just in the room with him trying to capture that. And then you're going to get on this weird cycle where, young managers who aren't ready for the managing a big club in those big moments get hired, and then it doesn't work, and then they'll say, "Oh, well, see, we need to go back to Big Sam."
Got to go back to Big Sam.
It's the circle of suck.
Always got to go back to Big Sam. Let's jump over. Big Sam kind of stunk up the joint with West Brom. They lost 3-0 in his debut.
10 men.
Didn't really do very well there.
Nope.
Let's get into Tottenham for a minute. Everybody's favorite, Jose Mourinho. They have dropped out of the top 2. You had a penalty from Jamie Vardy. You had an own goal. It's not so good at the moment for Tottenham. Domer's very excited about this. Questions because Jose had the famous disagreement with Jurgen Klopp about who was the better team in that match where they lost to Liverpool. Of course he was asked, were they the better team against Leicester? He said, I didn't think either team played very, very well. It's a game where your goalkeeper doesn't make a single save, but it's a game that we didn't play very well. We deserved to win the game at Liverpool, and that would have made it an amazing week because nobody has done that for a long time. The team was phenomenal at Liverpool. Now if you look at the table, everybody is there. He did also say, if I have to talk about individuals, I could go in other directions where the attitude was not the attitude that I like. They should get a little bit of a fortunate situation in the Gummy Bear Cup, though, because they are playing Stoke.
Yes.
Stoke has 5 goalkeepers who are either injured or cup-tied. They have to choose between a 19-year-old making his debut and a veteran loanee who hasn't played a competitive match for almost 2 years.
7th in the championship currently.
They have 5 goalkeepers unavailable.
Wow.
I mean, it's just bad luck. There's nothing you can do with that. They got 5 goalkeepers out. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Tottenham should be able to get through Stoke, I would hope.
Yeah.
But does that give them a little bit of a boost again? Because is Tottenham wobbling?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm looking at the Premier League standings, and honestly,
wobbling? They haven't won in 3. They've got one win in 5.
I'm looking at. They've won in the Premier League. They are unbeaten in their last 4. Sorry, I'm looking at the other end. My bad. So they've lost 2, and then after that, it's like that. It's like you're looking at things, and I was looking at it from left to right instead of right to left. But I mean, I look at European competition and all of the things going on right now, and right now, it's just, to me, it's just survival. And I think that Tottenham's doing.
I didn't talk about European competition. I said, are they wobbling? They've lost 2 in a row. They haven't won in 3.
They're still 2 points out of second, though.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you got this group of folks from 2nd to 7th separated by 3 points. You're still in that group. So, I mean, until until things continue to fall off the page, I'm like, no. I mean, they're still active in the conversation.
Weren't they at the top of the table not that long ago?
Yeah, before they lost the 2 in a row.
They lost the 2 in a row, and how far back are they now?
6.
Yeah. What place are they in?
They are in 6th, and they are 2 points out of 2nd.
Nick Alifi, does that define wobbling?
I withhold comment at the moment.
Well,
withhold comment at the moment.
Well, Nick Alifi tags in. I'm actually about to tag out.
Oh, then we got to talk about Celtic real quick. Your manager's a bum, Jarrett. What do you think?
I'm so happy that Jason had to sit there and watch 120 minutes of that trash like I do every week.
Furious watching that. It was the angriest I've been watching a game in a long time.
Now you understand I feel watching this team every week, why it's a struggle. Now you understand.
Oh, it's a struggle. It was garbage.
Here's an interesting stat and an interesting way to kind of do things. So I'm just going to present this. Today. So Scott Brown's performance, who Jason was ready to buy the kit of the player if they would 2 foot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Allegedly.
Gundy ain't wrong.
Allegedly.
So here was his day. He won 24 of 34 duels overall. Was 10 of 13 defensively. Won 7 of 8 loose balls. Had 8 interceptions and 21 recoveries, and only turned it over 1 time in his own half. It's a good game. No, and I'm not. This isn't the end of it.
Okay.
That's good. Those are good stats. Am I wrong?
No, that's fine.
And he made them worse. He played an outstanding game, all things considered, and they were worse. Imagine, and he's been bad. So look at that stat line. That's a great stat line by a guy who's supposed to be playing a defensive midfielder role. He hasn't been putting up those numbers, but he's been getting starts. That's how bad it's been. He had a great game yesterday, and they did he gestures wildly towards that. That's what I've been dealing with, Jason.
It was a miserable experience, Jarrett.
It was miserable for me, too. I was honestly sitting there thinking, loss isn't the worst thing here. Because then he won't make it out of the showers with his job.
And now, I'm just going to... I think I can pull this up really quickly so you can leave us. But, man, some of the comments about Neil Lennon at this point, they really, really make me angry how it's flipped. Here we go.
It's embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing. I don't know if he's your boy or not. Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill has said...
Martin O'Neill has legend status, but legends got to know when to shut up.
About Neil Lennon, he's taken a lot of stick in recent months. I think it's really uncalled for as well, because we are witnessing the 12th successive domestic trophy, which he's been a large part of in many aspects. I really can't believe it. It saddens me to think of him under that kind of pressure. It's not respite for him anymore. It's a great evening for them.
You almost lost to a really bad Hearts team.
Mm-hmm.
Hearts can barely pay their players.
You were on the back foot. And Hearts on the field isn't necessarily a terrible team, but you were on the back foot in the second half. That can't happen.
120 minutes and you were on the back foot against a second division team in a cup final for over half of it?
Yep.
It's fun to watch Shane Duffy and think they panic got Shane Duffy on loan instead of going and getting Mark McKenzie when apparently that was an option in the summer.
Yeah, they should have done that.
Now they're going to miss out on him probably.
And
he can talk about liking Celtic all he wants. He doesn't need to come here, especially if Neil Lennon's going to be in charge.
No, he needs to run as far away as possible.
He does.
Last thing, it is an accomplishment to do a quadruple treble. It is not such an accomplishment to do that in Scotland. Am I being unfair, Jarrett?
It's a mixed bag because it's with so much congestion in the schedule. No one's done it before, And the funny part is it took till now for them to do it when Rangers is actually back in the mix. Right. That's the funny part. They didn't do this when Rangers was gone.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the funny part about it all. Now, granted, it's going to end this year because they already got knocked out of the Scottish Cup for this year, so they won't be a fifth successive treble. They'll be lucky if they get one trophy this year. But it's an accomplishment. But there's only a few guys there that I'm like, good job. One of them being Connor Hazard, because you threw a 22-year-old goalkeeper into a cup final. When he really hasn't been playing. He's played the last few weeks, but he hasn't been playing much. And your first and second choice goalkeepers haven't been great. So you threw a 22-year-old kid on the field in a cup final, and then people were upset when he seized up in a couple big moments before he made 2 PK saves.
Maybe I'm just being a hater, Jarrett.
I am too.
Your manager makes me angry. Thank you, Jarrett.
He makes me angry too.
Merry Christmas, Jarrett.
Merry Christmas, y'all. I'm going to go. I am a meat popsicle. I'm done.
Okay. Nick Alifi is here. Welcome, Nick.
I'm sort of here. I don't know.
You're sort of here.
I'm sort of here, maybe existing on multiple planes at the moment. We don't know.
That's a little frightening there, Nick.
All over the place.
If we're here, are we really here? And where is here?
That's right. Great question, John. Fantastic question. What's the question on that? God bless you, Diego, wherever you are.
I mean, I for a while I didn't want to play that clip again, but it feels appropriate. And when Te'ise
feels appropriate there.
Yeah, when Te'ise can use all kinds of crazy Diego things and their promos running right now, I feel like it's okay.
Yeah.
They're getting crazy with stuff. Their end of the year stuff is madness. All right, Nick, I got to ask you about the start of that Milan match and scoring a goal in like 6.4 seconds.
Yes, indeed. The previous record holder, Venezia legend Paolo Poggi, reached out to Rafael Leao and said, "Congratulations, well done." Gave him his props. It is very pleasing. I have to be, excuse me, I have to take a step back and be very Vulcan about this. It was very intriguing to watch that particular sequence set up because it looked like a FIFA glitch. Whenever you think you've done everything right and all of a sudden the game just scores on you like instantaneously, like out of nowhere. It was thrilling. It was fun. I'm glad the record happened with red and black colors. But shout out to Paolo Poggi for handling it well and reaching out immediately on Twitter and giving some props to him. Could have been a little salty about it, but instead was just like, hey, congratulations, good for you. So overall, I was very impressed with Milan's performance. They're going to need a lot of help going forward. There's a ton of injuries. There's a lot of talent's not slated to come back, as I've checked out so far, not until the beginning of 2021. And so you're talking about what you have, the matches coming up, or what, Benevento, Lazio, and Juve, and then Torino.
Yeah, you've got Lazio at home on Wednesday.
That'll be a very tough game.
Then nothing this weekend. They're taking the Christmas weekend off. Then it's at Benevento on January 3rd. Are you going to have some of the injured guys back for that, maybe? No?
I think you may have some of the guys. Benevento is going to be one of those trap games.
Okay, yeah. You play Juve the next day, or the next game, right, like 3 days later.
Right. And so the one thing that could push them forward is the fact that Inter is only like a point behind right now. Inter's had very good form as of late. The games, again, haven't really meant anything, which means that the Conte curse of collapsing in games that mean something is off the table at the moment. But Milan wants to try to keep any lead they can. And as of late, the Scudetto dreams have sort of been on shaky ground. I'll call that shaky ground. But the injury bug has caught up with them. You have a bunch of guys who've been performing out of their skin for so long, and now the injuries are catching up. The lack of rest is catching up. And it's going to be interesting to see how that staggers out amongst the rest of the league, because it's going to happen to everyone.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of when it hits you. And I think right now, between Europa League and Serie A, it's now just starting to hit Milan, and it's hitting them in a bunch. So, but it's been impressive to watch them. The way that they rallied in that game was very impressive, and to come right out of the gates, blasting away. Kind of disappointed that they let the goal in. We were really hoping for a clean sheet there, but at the end of the day, for a young team, it's something where when you have that comeback draw that you had last week, and then you had all the pressure starting to mount, and then you had Pioli come out, the turtleneck was back, the head was freshly shaved, everything's good to go. The magic was back, I felt like. And these guys, they could have collapsed, and instead they embraced it, and they handled their business. So you can't really be too terribly mad about where Milan is right now. And if you are a Milan fan, it's okay to dream about the Scudetto right now. But just understand you have very seasoned teams behind them. Juve, they're not losing games, they're just drawing a lot. And you have Inter, which is they're winners of like 4 or 5 straight. So, they're a very seasoned, accomplished team. We're going to take it as it comes, one step at a time. But Serie A is very exciting this year.
It is.
You could say anything you want about any of the other times, but this year it's very exciting.
Go ahead.
I was just say, speaking of Juve.
Yes, sir.
Tuttosport is reporting that they're kind of looking in the MLS shop window, perhaps in January, to add to Weston McKennie the names in the Tuttosport piece. FC Dallas duo Brian Reynolds, Ricardo Pepi, Red Bulls midfielder Caden Clark, LA Galaxy right back Julian Araujo, 4 of the main names on Juve's wish list as the January transfer window approaches in the Tuttosport article.
You have competitive buying markets in Argentina and Brazil and throughout the rest of South America, really. A lot of teams are going fishing there. But keep in mind, he may have been a traffic cone while he was here, but Andrea Pirlo has played at MLS, and he has seen firsthand the energy and the ability of the players here in the United States.
Yeah, he watched it run right by him.
Yes, he watched the sprint with Usain Bolt-like ability past him, I'm sure in his mind.
Yeah, that was just relative.
I was going to say.
But he saw that the United States is playing a better brand of ball than they may be playing, that the reputation may be presented in England and other parts of the world. Germany has gotten on board with this. Germany is already fishing in the United States. They're finding tremendous value. These players are developed. It's not like you're taking a lump of coal and you're just chucking it into a furnace and hoping to God you get a diamond out of the thing. Instead, you have players who are coming in and contributing right away. Weston McKennie, we could say whatever we want about Landon Donovan. God bless him. Probably arguably the best player that the United States has produced. However, Weston McKennie, I think when we go back, is going to be the guy who kicked in the door and said, hey, global markets, not just Germany. The United States can play ball. And
where do you think he is on the pecking order right now at Juve? That's a question from Burned on the Twitch pitch.
Where do I think he's in the pecking order? From
with Rabiot, with Arthur, with Betancourt.
I mean, he's in the mix. I don't think Juve can. I don't think Juve can go any sustained period of time without him starting. And with the way that Andrea Pirlo is trying to have them play and have them achieve any kind of results, because he is the murder man in the middle. That he has zero fear of anybody that he goes against. He has the ability to clean a lot of stuff up, address a lot of the gaps through his athleticism, and I think he's getting a crash course in positional awareness in Serie A that is required. I don't care where you're coming from. I don't care what your skill level is. The way that you have to do rotations in Serie A, one little gap, one little miss, and suddenly you lose the structural ability to defend well. So I think McKennie, he's right up in there. And if you put him in a skills competition, is he going to win the skills competition? Maybe not. But if you put him in that system and the whistle blows, I'm not dropping Weston McKennie for just about anybody on that roster. I'll take the Pepsi challenge on that one.
Mondays with Reddit.
All right, BBC and their rumors. You ready?
Rumors.
Bayern Munich and Austria defender David Alaba, and we know he's refused to sign a new deal. He can talk to other clubs in January. Chelsea, Real Madrid, and PSG are interested in the 28-year-old. Where do you think David Alaba signs a pre-contract?
I'll say Real Madrid.
That's what I'm thinking, too. Their names come up the most.
Yeah, well, you have three teams that identifying the spenders, right? We're identifying the people who still are flush with cash in this world, right? But out of those names, what's going to be the most alluring? And it's Real Madrid. I mean, PSG have a ton of cash, but they don't have the pedigree of international success, right? Of like interregional success. They don't have it. So if I want a shot at winning a Champions League, where am I? Chelsea, okay, I've got to play in England. Do I want to deal with that? Madrid, London. Which one am I going to go to?
What about Liverpool with their problems at the back?
Sounds like they have not had a conversation.
Based on the rumor mill, if we go by that, they have not entered the conversation. But I'm sure that they're organizing like a lemonade drive or, like some cookie bake sale or something. They're going
to need to do that.
The plucky individuals.
They're going to have to go door to door and sell chocolates.
That's right.
Would they be like the ice cream, or they be like the ice cream truck with the creepy music coming through the neighborhood?
Why did you have to put that on Liverpool? Man, I was just talking about going door to door like we did as kids and selling chocolate. You're putting creepy ice cream truck music on it, man. John,
I'm not willing to go there yet.
Good grief.
Oh, man.
That's a little harsh.
No, I'll say Real Madrid. I think they just have the pedigree, and there's just something about that white jersey that makes people say, that's where I want to go. The history of success is there. The money's there. You're probably going to get a lot of autonomy. So
Byrne says that Austrian newspapers are reporting that David Alaba's father told them he's looking at Spain, not England.
There you go.
So there you go. Next on the list, a player we've talked about quite a bit on SDH and Soccer over there, Moises Caicedo, 19 years old, Independiente del Valle. Manchester United want to sign him now.
Do we have a rumored fee on that one?
Let's see if the Manchester Evening News is reporting a fee. Of course, it is part of a new transfer strategy from the genius that is Ed Woodward.
Genius!
Now, look, they signed Pelistri, young Uruguayan talent from Peñarol. They signed Diallo, another young guy who's going to come into them next year.
Yep.
They have added young talent previous to these, so that part is true. They've been doing this. They want to sign him so he can move to Manchester in the new year due to new work permit regulations, so that could factor into it. I guess if they waited, they might not be able to pull it off. He's got 4 senior caps, started in their last 4 World Cup qualifiers at 19. United have decided to pursue the highest-rated teenage talents around the world instead of what they used to do, which was sign guys between 23 and 28. Let's see what we got, if there's any numbers. No, and it's kind of a weird one. Boca Juniors was in the mix for him, and it sounds like Boca's not going to get him.
Yeah. I want to see what the transfer valuations of, and we don't have to solve it right now, but I do want to see what the transfers are when they got like the kid out of the Peñarol and they got when they're pulling these younger guys. I want to see what they're paying, because and maybe that'll help showcase why Serie A, and really in this case Pirlo, who's trying to be ahead of the curve and be the smartest guy in the room, is trying to be one step ahead, and he's following the Germans into MLS because you can probably get a lot of players of comparable ability for far less than you're going to get out of South America, where they're a bit more, FC Dallas doesn't have a ton of experience probably in the international transfer market, right? There's probably not a lot of people at Sporting Kansas City who are used to selling in the international market. Completely different than buying. It's player valuation, all of that comes into play. But I want to see how that works out. If we have it, great. But
Pellistri is rumored to have been somewhere between 8 and 10 million euro. It's not crazy money for a Manchester United, and if you have that to spend on teenagers and you hit on 1 out of every 3, it could pay off.
That's not bad.
It's different. Like it's a different strategy for a club of Manchester United's size, because you would have thought it would have been reversed. Like they would have signed a bunch of young kids to try to build up a squad and then picked off the veterans to fill it in. It's like they've trying to reverse engineer it, and now they're actually trying to get it right for the long term. Are they going to stick with somebody like Ole to develop that talent, or are they going to move on him and bring in a Tuchel, which has been rumored for a while at the end of the season? I don't know. I feel like if Ole doesn't win a trophy this year, and look, they're not out of it in the league. They're not. If he doesn't win a trophy, I think he's gone. I think they can justify moving on, and if they're investing in all this young talent, they're going to want to make sure they have the right manager in place for it, I would assume.
I agree with the fact that they could move on from him.
I think they shouldn't, but I think they do.
They shouldn't.
There we go.
Yeah.
Agreed with that. I do not. I mean, if you're Man United, where were you 2 years ago? Right? And
you were in a miserable place with Jose.
Right. And look where you are now. You're back into qualifying for Champions League. You're in third. You're not completely out of the race for the flipping league. And on Twitter, I see guys like, well, probably time for Ole to go. I think he's done everything. Like, I'm sorry. In what universe are you living in where you think it's okay to chuck Ole out the door right now? Like, what has he done except put you into the best you can ask in the Premier League now, which is compete for a Champions League spot and be in shooting distance of number 1.
I mean,
John.
you're a match in hand of being only 2 points behind Liverpool.
Right.
You win that match in hand, you're 2 points behind Liverpool. Domestically, you've won 4 of your last 5. You're unbeaten in your last 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you have all of this young talent, whether it's academy or what have you, wouldn't you rather have someone who's a part of the fabric of your franchise, who is familiar with these individuals, instead of turning everything upside down again, bringing in Thomas Tuchel, and then Tuchel is going to probably want to adjust the thought pattern. It's like, oh, I had this at PSG, we had all this money, we threw all this money at all these players, and you're stifling the growth of all the young guys at Manchester United. If you make that change, I think anyway, because at least Ole understands the landscape of the U23 and the first team and everything on down, whereas Thomas Tuchel comes in.
John.
What?
Where was Thomas Tuchel before?
What, before PSG?
Yeah. Borussia
Where was
Dortmund.
he?
What did he do at Borussia Dortmund? Developed a bunch of young guys. Like I don't think he's a glory hunting manager. I disagree with that take.
No, but my point is just in the current context of Manchester United, because if you've done all of this work with Ole, I would be concerned that all of this work that you've done with Ole would go away and you would recede if you got rid of Ole and brought in somebody else, regardless of who it is. Right. I just think that if you
who
get
it
rid
is
of Ole Gunnar
matters.
Solskjaer, then I think everything that you've worked for to get to this point has that chance of receding, and you won't get to where you won't stay where you are.
No, I don't think they should move on. I think Ole has done a fine job with what he has. Right. But Tuchel's a different conversation, because if you want to start playing the game that you guys like to play so much, Thomas Tuchel has developed a lot of young talent in his day. What is Manchester United doing right now? Signing a lot of young talent right now. Who's out of contract in the summer? Thomas Tuchel.
I get it.
I can't believe I am playing black helicopter theories with you guys now at this point. You've all ruined me.
One of us. One of us.
One of us.
It's very sad.
Look, we're not saying that Tuchel wouldn't develop talent, but talent is not a singular monolithic thing. Each person is going to view that talent in a different light. Now, that the people that Ole are looking at, Gunnar Solskjaer is looking at right now, says, look, I think these kind of players are going to be very successful for what we're trying to do, the way that the club needs to go for. And there's tremendous value here. But if Tuchel comes in and says, hey, I am all about developing talent, but I need to have my eyes on him first. Right. I know what I'm looking for. And suddenly these other guys get pushed aside as a result, or may not get necessarily a fair shake as a result. You're talking about incremental setbacks. And I get it, man. Dortmund's been developing talent and selling talent at an obscene level for a long time.
I think it's all set up. I think it's Tuchel. I think unless Ole wins a trophy, I think they're going to have a justification. And,
I think he's gone no matter what. I think he could win. I think anything outside of winning the Premier League, he's gone.
If he wins the Europa League, I don't think he's gone. If he wins the FA Cup, I don't think he's gone. I think it'll be harder to move on at that point, unless. See, I don't think. I think Tuchel would be a good manager for them. Now, whatever the character issues are around Thomas Tuchel, I still want to know. But I think he would be a good fit for them. I don't know how the fan base feels at this point. It's so hard to get a read on it, because Ole was like their guy, and then now it seems like it's half and half. Would Tuchel excite the fan base? Has he done enough to justify it? I don't know. I don't think they should. I want to make that clear. I don't think they should. I think Ole is doing about as much as you can do with what he has to work with, and I think he can do a fine job developing these young players. But what they're doing really seems to fit into that wheelhouse of the black helicopter theory of it's all set up for Thomas Tuchel to take over in the summer.
Right. Well, to use I'm sorry, anyone under the age of or anyone under the age of 30 who's not used to driving any sort of stick shift vehicle here, but Milan had to realize where they were. Milan had to realize, okay, we are not a giant anymore. We used to be giants. We used to own Champions League. That was us. We were, this position of greatness. We're not there anymore. So we have to blow this whole damn thing up and start over again. And they did it. Now, they went very slowly through the gears, right? First, second, okay, we're there. Okay, third, okay, do we change managers now? No. Okay, no, we're gonna keep where we're going. Boop, up to fourth they went, and they found success. They got themselves up to speed. I'm terrified that Man United is gonna go, okay, we're going back to second gear, fifth, and they're gonna stall the car out because they're trying to make that jump too quickly. They're trying to get back to greatness too quickly without going through the steps to get where they need to be, because it becomes this cycle where we're going to develop youth. We develop youth. We get that taste of greatness. And then, wait. We got to buy these veterans to get us over the hump. And then you're right back to where you were before.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm afraid Man United is going to do. And I don't like Man United. I have no problem saying that. But I'm tired of being on social media with all of these Man United fans, some of whom, Jason Davies, are very rational, very level-headed.
Wow.
They get it. They understand the situation, develop the youth, build it back up. That's where we had success before. And then you have all these other fans who are like, we are a great club. We will be great again. O'Doyle rules. And then they're going to just drive the car off the cliff. So I hope they build incrementally, even if it is Tuchel. Build incrementally. But Ole should keep his job. He's not going to, but he should.
Okay, one more topic before we move into a couple of things to wrap up. Burned with a really good question, and this is going to get weird here very quickly. You've got a lot of rumor and innuendo about French teams having to sell everybody coming up in January because of this broadcasting deal that fell apart, and they have no money, and everybody's screwed. Do you think a lot of teams suddenly change their transfer strategy to look at what's going on in France in the first and second division? I mean, you've got a lot of talent there, some very raw talent, and you might have bargain basement prices.
I think you're going to have to look at it from two different points of view. I think you have American ownership still in Marseille, do you not? I don't think that ownership group's changed hands.
I think that is correct.
I think it's still the McCourt, yeah.
Yeah. So I think what you're going to see is what you're seeing in Italy right now, where you're going to see American ownership groups who may have ties to France for whatever reason start to see these teams come this close to being belly up and dive in and try to and get an ownership of these clubs and Americanize it and do whatever they do, which is what you're seeing in Italy right now. But I think you are 100% correct regarding the transfer strategy because you have players with EU passports who you don't have to worry about jumping through hoops for that will be coming in at bargain basement prices. And if you are anywhere outside of France at the moment and you are an exporter of talent, I think you have to be sweating bullets right now because it could depress the market. And now you have to maybe reevaluate what your evaluation is of your valuation rather of your player to try to keep them in the game. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that works. I think it could absolutely up in the transfer market.
France is going to get weird, right, John?
Very. And that's just the short version of it.
Okay. I like
No,
it.
I mean, it's just, with what is it Nick's favorite saying?
He's got a few. I don't know which direction you're going to go.
Out of chaos comes opportunity.
Yes.
Okay.
And with the chaos going on right now in Ligue 1, first and second division, you're going to see the financial vultures from the world market descend on France and try to sit there and get players for the equivalent of pennies on the dollar than you would with your normal transfer market. So I think that January, I think that folks need to look at France and all the activity that you'll see from the other leagues, not just in the European theater, but you're going to see a lot of leagues around the world sit there and look at talent that's based in Ligue 1 and Ligue 2 and try to bring them in just because you can get them for the prices that you can. So these clubs that are currently having financial issues can try and find some way to stay afloat. And if it means having a bargain basement sale and Crazy Eddie is sitting there and going, his prices are insane, and you're getting folks to get your players, hopefully it keeps you afloat, and yeah, it's going to be wild.
Which French club is most like Big Lots?
Oh, wow. I would have said Monaco just because of their Russian oligarchical ownership, but that's just me.
That's kind of mean. I don't think Monaco's anything like Big Lots.
I think Nice is going to be that team.
That's a good call.
I think Nice is going to be that team. You're talking about changing of ownership, not ownership, but changing of management and everything else. There's going to be a lot of upheaval.
Yeah, they might be the most like Big Lots. Okay, couple more. One, Barcelona presidential candidate Victor Font. He has laid his cards on the table. Xavi Hernandez will come to Barcelona if I win the election. If he doesn't, I promise to pay for all season ticket holders for a year out of my own pocket.
You're getting a little about.
Feels like desperate times.
Yeah,
I don't think you have the facilities for that big man.
Yes, exactly.
He says he does.
You want to sit there and say that there's going to be a goose in every pot for if you get elected?
There are a lot of Roman emperors who used to promise that there would be fresh bread for everyone and that there would be riches and spoils beyond belief.
Finest meats and cheeses for everyone if I get elected emperor.
And what would happen is, more often than not, those emperors found themselves at the end of a Praetorian sword because of failure to fulfill those promises.
Uh-huh.
So for this gentleman who believes that if I don't bring in Javi, then I will pay for all the season ticket holders.
I want to look at a bank statement.
You better bring. There are not enough drugs. I want to know who his dealer is because he is on the finest of the finery. I'm just throwing that out there.
He is in the finest of the casual partatement. Yeah.
That feels like some
owners of pancake.
Crazy.
Do we know
pancakes.
how many season ticket holders there are currently for Barcelona?
Lots.
I mean, that's a pretty darn big stadium.
Lots.
Just throwing that out.
Lots. One of the most ridiculous games that we have seen or heard of in a long time, the Brazilian U17 Club Championship. Fluminense won it. They won the U17 Brasileiro. 9 players were sent off.
Oh.
Nine players were sent off?
9. Brawl in second half stoppage time, including one player running off the bench and delivering a flying karate kick to the face of an opponent. Oh, it's out there. João Neto, striker for Fluminense, was at the center of it all, according to Sports Illustrated. It started after he was fouled, kicked out in retaliation. João Neto was the recipient of João Gabriel's act of martial arts, which was then followed by him being kicked on the ground by somebody else. All 4 were among those sent off in a match that was reportedly delayed by 10 minutes and finished 8v8. 3 of the 9 were on the bench, so that's why it finished 8v8. Fluminense won both legs 2-1, so they won 4-2 on aggregate, and yes, there is video.
Okay, because I've seen the stills of the crescent kick. And
there is a 53-second video that I will retweet now. I do want to see the karate kick before I move on. I'm waiting for the guy to come running in with a good karate kick on that player. A lot of pushing and shoving. Oh, well, yes, it's a good one. Oh, it's like to the back, too. That's really cheap. Yeah, that's getting retweeted right now. At Longshoe, if you want to see that madness. Highly recommended on Thursday, Christmas Eve, to watch on TIC, which you can watch on Fanatis if you don't have it on your cable system. fntz.co/soccer down here. There will be a lot of talk about this in our brand new fancy fangled Discord. It is the Programa de la Vecchia. La Vecchia is one of the hosts of Planeta Goal, which is maybe the greatest soccer show ever thought of. They show like countdowns of the most random kinds of highlights, like they show the goals of the weekend, stuff like that that's run of the mill. Then they'll show like greatest fouls by players with mustaches. I've seen that one. It's great stuff. The Programa de la Vecchia is like their year-end review, and it's a legendary thing. They always do a big deal with it. This one will obviously have a Diego Maradona theme to it, but it's always a lot of fun, and they show all the most ridiculous things, along with the greatest goals and greatest moments. So that's on TIC, I believe at 5 o'clock our time. I think that they are 2 hours ahead, if I am not mistaken. So I believe it is at 5 o'clock our time. That will be confirmed. There will be a lot of talk about that. A whole bunch of these are available on YouTube. You can go find them, some of the previous year's editions, and I think they're doing a big marathon of these as well on Thursday and Friday. So that is a definite. Winterwind, thank you for the Brazilian U17 thing. I'm sure that will make it in there somewhere because that is a good kick to the back of the head.
It was. That was tremendous.
Yeah, that's really, really good stuff. Okay. we've got some games to call some shots on. And John, I've asked you to track these, and I don't think you have you?
What games are you talking about?
That's what I thought. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a few predictions on games this week, and John's actually going to write them down on his legal pad, one of the 5 that you have, or 7, or 12, or
12.
34?
34.
And you're actually going to go back and check to see who got these right so we can see, because, you know, like sometimes I feel like I get on a little run, and then sometimes I feel like I can't pick anything and I jinx everything. You know,
well, I just can't pick anything in general, so I'm right there with you.
So we're going to find out who knows what they're talking about, or who's just, you know, making things up and talking nonsense.
I'm just saying, hey, this happened only because Jason had to pay up with some white chocolate Reese's, and now he's gone into Jordan mode where I took that personally. So now he's like, we got to keep track. We must have answers. Look at the look.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, tomorrow, ConcaChampions final, Tigres and LAFC. What are the numbers again?
Let's see if they've changed since we started earlier today. ConcaChampions, no, they haven't changed. Tigres a plus 146, LAFC a plus 170, and your draws a plus 229.
Tigres. Regulation.
Tigres in regulation.
Tigres regulation.
Yeah, okay, so we all got that one. Anything good there now? Juventus and Fiorentina tomorrow. I've got the numbers. Minus 303 for Juve, draws plus 450, plus 700 for Fiorentina. It is at Juventus.
Juve.
It's going to be Juve, and it's probably going to be Juve by a decent margin. Cesare Prandelli has just not been the healing factor that they thought he would be in coming back, as beloved as he is in Florence. Prandelli has just been a disaster. There are far deeper issues with this team outside of whoever is the manager at the moment. So Fiorentina's in real trouble right now. Rocco better get on his act and better tighten up in January, start making some big moves, or else he's going to be running into some major problems. And not just that, but they also have the issue with the stadium as well. So, yeah, it's going to be Juve probably by a wide margin.
I think so, too. I'd like to say
Jack
Fiorentina,
agrees.
but yeah, I'm not buying it.
A
Copa,
flock of Jackie Seagulls.
That's
Copa,
right. He
yeah,
does have the flock of seagulls
it is.
thing going on right now.
He has no idea who that band is, does he?
He has no clue who that band is.
That's what
You
I figured.
too.
Libertadores, Wednesday. Thunderdome, Boca hosting Racing. Racing has the 1-0 lead coming into it. Boca's minus 125. Racing plus 350. Draw is plus 200. What do you think?
Boca.
The committee over here is picking. He's picking. Actually, you know what? No, he's picking Boca. I'm picking Racing.
I'm picking the draw. I think Racing goes through, but I'm picking the draw in this match. It's okay. We got
Jackie
variance
Fresh
there.
put 500 on Boca.
Oh man, that's crazy.
I want to know where he has that money.
He
I don't know if
doesn't
he's talking
have
about 500 V-Bucks from Fortnite, or if he's talking 500 U.S. currency. What do you talking
Canadian
about?
Tire Bucks.
It's on my phone.
Crazy.
You're willing to put your phone up on this?
Whoa.
That's bold. That's bold, Jackie. That's very bold.
Say bold. Say bold.
That's bold.
You don't know me, PS5.
I'm not paying PS5 for that mess. You've lost your mind.
Man. Milan and Lazio on Wednesday at 2:45. Milan is plus 120. The draw is plus 275. Lazio is plus 200. Nick?
I'm going to say my heart wants to say it's going to be a draw, but I think Lazio breaks the streak. And I think it'll probably be tight, though. I'm going to say 2-1 Lazio. Never gamble with your heart.
You're trying that reverse psychology thing.
Never. I never gamble with your heart. It only leads you to bankruptcy.
Uh-huh. Milan.
Draw.
All right.
2-2
Jack
draw.
says Milan.
It was
Like 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
Last one, Everton hosting Manchester United in the Gummy Bear Cup on Wednesday, and the numbers are, as it tried to refresh on me, Everton plus 230, the draw is plus 275, and Manchester United is plus 110.
Manchester United.
At Everton.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm taking Everton. I think Man U's looking forward to Leicester City on the 26th. So I think they're going to be. I don't foresee them walking out of a win.
Draw, and Manchester United goes through on penalties. I'm going draw on penalties.
All
right. So that was what, 5 games?
5.
Okay, we will do 5 games, and Jarrett will chime in from time to time. And did you write the pluses and the minuses, or did you just pick the result?
I just put the results.
You just put the result. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll just go with the straight up result. You get a point for each one you got right. How about that?
There you go.
And we'll see who comes up with it. Yeah, we're going to start tracking this because I'm sick of this white Reese's nonsense. Drea Pirlo making me buy on white Reese's peanut butter cups. Jerk.
Sacrilege.
Man. Okay. 2 requests before we go, since this is the last soccer over there before Christmas. John, what message would Arsene Wenger leave on the Arsenal answering machine as a Christmas wish in the state that Arsenal's currently in?
Okay, hang on here.
On the spot.
All right.
Thank you for calling the Emirates, the home of Arsenal Football Club. If you wish to leave a positive message for the club, please press 1. If you wish to leave a message in regard to our current managerial situation, please press 2. If you wish to leave another message in regard to the current managerial situation, please press pound, and an operator will get back to you sometime after the new year. Beep!
Okay, I was looking for something else, but I wanted to see where that went. Let me ask you instead, maybe a little more clearly.
Sure.
Arsene Wenger is calling the person who would be in charge of Arsenal right now, and is wishing them a happy holiday, but also talking about what's going on currently.
Okay.
One ringy dingy. 2 ringy dingies. Mr. Kroenke, I wish to leave you a message about the current state of affairs with the club. I'd like to wish you first and foremost a happy holiday season, and may you get the pony that you were wishing for your new stadium over there in Los Angeles. I want my job back. Click.
Okay. And Nick, here's a request for you.
Mm-hmm.
What message would David Beckham leave on Miguel Herrera's answering machine in light of becoming available today, and also wishing him a happy holiday?
Hello, Miguel. It's David Beckham, and I would like to call and cordially invite you to come down to the wonderful city of Miami, and we have a lovely team here, a football club, a proper football club, and my wife is Posh Spice. You may have heard of her from the legendary Spice Girls. She was the pretty Spice Girl who wore the dominatrix outfit. That's my wife, and then so I used to kick a ball very curvily from a long distance away, and you should come and manage our club. We have to fire the first guy first. Don't talk to him yet. We may have to fire him first. However, we would like you to come here and play proper football here, and we fired the other guy too. Paul McSomething. I don't know his name very proper well, but we got rid of him too. And I'm practicing with the lads, and there's a good.
That's pretty good. I really would like to think that's how it would go. I don't think it would. But I really want that to be the case.
David, I heard that you are looking for a new coach. Would you like to have me come by with all of my cigarettes and sit on the touchline for you?
No.
But you do not want the Citron sponsorship as well? Cigarettes, citron.
No. We're sponsored by Spice Girls right now. We don't have a shirt sponsor at the moment, so we're about to put on a proper. It's going to be Spice Girls, the Muppet Show. It's going to be right there in the front of the shirt. It's going to be wonderful. And it's wonderful. We have a manager, a wonderful Miguel Herrera. Yes, I think that's his name. I don't know his name either. I really don't do a lot with the club. The Mars brothers really do everything. I just kind of sit aside and get in front of the cameras and look pretty, and then I say some words and I walk away. That's pretty much all I have to do with the club, you know.
Do you have the Mars brothers' phone number?
No, they didn't give me their number. They send up smoke signals, and they occasionally send a carrier pigeon and whatnot to my mansion, and that's about it. I never talked to them at all either.
Would you like Mesut Özil to be a part of Miami?
We have an exciting designated player. We call him the Hamburglar. He's at the front. He can't really put the ball into the net at the moment, but we're working on it. Practice with the lads, and he's wonderful. But he keeps showing up, going to the Burger King and whatnot, and we're trying to get him to stop doing that. But he's currently the Hamburglar until further notice.
Would you like Mesut Özil to be your mascot?
We are currently in the process of bringing an exciting young mascot to the stadium, which is actually and we're moving it to Fort Myers, currently from Fort Lauderdale, a beautiful stadium, and we're going to hire Gunnosaurus to come and be our mascot because that really screams Miami, you know, a classy mascot like Gunnosaurus.
Because I have heard that the Fort Myers is the hot spot for all of the soccer.
It's a beautiful city. We're looking to put. We have a number of artist renderings. This is our artist right here, who's going to be putting another stadium design, our 14th stadium design, and we're going to be putting it on. And there's wonderful, and it's going to be in Fort Myers, and then Fort Lauderdale, and then no, not in Orlando. That place is toxic. And then maybe Jacksonville, and maybe somewhere else. We're not sure yet.
Maybe a port or a fort? Port St. Lucie, Port Charlotte?
No, that's far too. No. We are a big club. And we're going to be. My wife's going to do a drawing now. She's going to do a drawing. It's going to be in Homestead, Florida, and maybe Apalachicola as well.
Because, as you well know, that you go to the Panhandle. That is the good hotspot for everything that is the soccer.
Okay, time. Nick got the highest score ever from the East German judge of 9.8.
Of course.
Bernd thinks that Nick must have worked at Second City in Chicago in an earlier life.
I'm sure he did.
Thank you.
Not bad at all. And Winterwind was impressed about Gunnosaurus being the Miami mascot because he is alligator-ish.
He's alligator-ish.
Sound about Alligator Ali.
It would work. It would absolutely work. Okay. I needed to hear that. I needed to see what you guys would do with that. That was about what I expected it to be. Good stuff. All right. So the rest of the week, we've got our normal week with soccer down here in the mornings, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. No show on Friday. Maybe we'll have some kind of taped thing for you on Friday. Be on the lookout for that. If you are a subscriber on the Twitch pitch, if you are a subscriber on Patreon, and you have not received an invite to our Soccer Down Here Discord, please send me a message. Send a message to any of the Soccer Down Here outlets. Nick still has to accept his invitation, by the way. Calling you out. Yep, it's true. He's flapping his arms around like Alexi Lawless at the moment. It's good times. So it's like a Soccer Down Here clubhouse of nonsense, basically. The CONCACAF Champions League, the Conca Crazy on Saturday night was quite entertaining in the Discord. So I'm sure that will be going on tomorrow night for a little bit of a watch along. It's going to be bonkers tomorrow. Do we know what time that thing starts? Because I had seen 10, I'd seen 9, I've seen 8.
Let's see. ConcaChampions 10.
10 o'clock.
That's what it's listed as. It's
okay.
listed as 10.
Yeah, I've seen everything. So that's going to be a little bit of a late night, but that's tomorrow night. That'll be big. Probably a little bit of watch along in the Discord on Wednesday with Boca and Rossing as well, because that will be bonkers. Nick,
and keep in mind, Jack is. Remember, Jack has offered 500 on Boca. 500.
Yes, 500. And his phone and a PS5, I heard, and all kinds of other stuff.
500 on Boca.
I got the draw.
Jackie Fresh.
I got the draw.
All right.
Yeah, we might have to start getting to that point. That's a lot for John to start writing down, is all the numbers, too.
I'm just throwing that out there because the kid was so bold with it.
He was. He was.
That's all I'm saying.
Man. So
OPM, baby. Other people's money.
Pretty much. So, Nick, anything else you want to add before we go? You haven't even talked about Gabriel Heinze yet. I don't know if you saw the stuff from today. I don't know if anything jumped out to you.
I wasn't really expecting too much from the press conference today, to be honest with you. You know, I expected him to come out, do the rah-rah, you know, like, hey, look, I'm here. This is going to be great. You know, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. All right. But I will say that I'm excited for it. I hope that no matter what, people give him time. You know, if hopefully he comes out and it's gangbusters. That's, you know, I think if you're an Atlanta United fan, that's what you want. I think for MLS and for Atlanta as well, it needs to be a home run. I think, but home runs aren't decided in this particular situation instantaneously. So give them time, let them get settled. It's a big move coming from Argentina to here, culturally, distance, everything else. It's one thing to accept the parameters that are put in front of you. It's another thing to navigate those. So I believe he can do it. You know, he's a tough guy. And I know everybody keeps talking about Man U and PSG. Don't forget the guy played at Roma as well for a minute. He had a cup of coffee there. So
he did. Had a season.
Yeah, he's, you know, he can get it done. But I'm feeling really good about the hire. It seems that, you know, he seems to have energized the fan base, and you know, for better or for worse, I think that's a good thing. So,
John, final thoughts on anything you want to touch on that we have not?
Since this is the last soccer over there before Christmas, I just want to wish those who are a part of our family, Discord, Twitch, Twitter, all of our social media, that just listen to this and they may catch us one place or another. Thank you for all of the support that you've given us this year, that you give us every year, that you give us every day, that you put up with our madness, you put up with all of us. And thank you for being a part of this growing SDH family. And we couldn't have done it without you. And we love the fact that you're with us every step of the way. Just wanted to wish each and every one of you a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas. And just may you get the pony if that's what you wished for.
Sure. Pony, the Millennium Falcon toy, you know, whatever it is, the Ewok Village.
Yes.
I got the Ewok Village when I was like 8. It was awesome. That was the coolest thing I ever got. The whole Ewok Village was amazing.
Wow.
I was so excited.
Indoor playset?
No. Like for the little toys. You know, I mean, it was like it had the little trees and
like
the platform.
The little tree thing and like the little Ewoks and whatnot.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Impressive.
That was one of my favorite Christmas presents I ever got. Thanks, everybody, for listening, as you guys always do. Thanks for sharing it. Thanks for being part of the madness that is soccer over there. It is ridiculous and crazy, and who knows what will happen. And that's soccer for you, isn't it? So thanks for being part of it. We got more shows the rest of the week. Nick, send us home.
This is soccer. Time does not exist.
It's true.
Mucha Euro, y'all.